Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dave and this is Alaskan Homesteading. Today, as you can see, we have a beautiful clear day. It is very, very cold. We woke up to about minus 18 this morning, and I think it might be all the way up to about minus 17 now. So I have a new tool slash toy, a new machine for the homestead that I want to show you all. I've got some projects to do with it, some modifications I need to make, and I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. It'll be fun. It's something new for us, something we've never really dealt with before. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is our 2021 Ski-Doo Expedition Sport 600 EFI. This is a really nice, relatively new snow machine. It's the newest machine of any kind that I've ever owned. I've never had something 2 years old like this. Facebook Marketplace deal. It was a really good buy from a good seller, a nice guy. He showed us around the machine. He had done a bunch of nice modifications to it prior to selling it, and he apparently took very good care of it. So I'm excited to have the machine. And there's a few projects that I want to do. Mainly today, I want to bring it into the garage, get it warmed up a little bit, and start working on a couple of things. At any rate, let's go ahead and see if we can get this in there. It is chilly this morning. Let's see if she'll start up. It actually warmed up to minus 16.6. Almost. Ooh. Oh. That's no good. It started last night when it was minus 14. I'll try again. Well, anybody who's watched this channel for any length of time has seen me struggle with starting vehicles that have sat out in the cold. And one of the modifications I've already done to this machine is I added a jump start input. The battery is underneath this seat, and I knew that it would be a good idea to be able to jump it. And disassembling all this stuff, you know, it takes a little effort and time and tools to take it all apart. So the little jump box is going to be our friend today, I hope. We'll see if this will get her started up. All right, that's ready to go. I've never tried this before, so y'all are going to see this for the first time right here with me, trying to get this thing started using an auxiliary jump pack. "100% successful jump." No, that's not true. All right, we'll try that again. Clamp cables to battery. Yep, they're clamped. I don't think this is quite making good enough contact, is my thought. The jump box hasn't registered that it's connected yet, so let's try this again. Clamp cables to battery. Yes. They are clamped to the battery. Well, that is not working. Very disappointing. But that leads me to the first project that I want to do on this, I think. I bought a Recoil Start add-on for it, which this machine only came with electric start, so they have an add-on where you can add the sort of traditional pull start to it. So to do that, though, I need to get it in the garage, so I'm going to have to probably plug in a little charger out here and get this thing, get this battery topped up before I can bring the machine in. Too much two-stroke exhaust in here.
Yeah.
Already.
I don't think you're getting enough.
No, I'm not. But let's slide that under.
Go.
Good. Okay, so if I can get the front up a little bit, I should be able to push it back.
Oh, there you go. I don't know anything.
This out here. That doesn't do anything. All right, so now trying to get that wheel underneath the spindle when I lift it up.
Okay, yeah, down. I'm not sure how far it is, but let's get the other one first, and then we can center it. Okay, there we go. That worked out. Oh, my hand just froze to that thing.
Well, that wasn't a glamorous way to do it, but it worked. Let's close that door. Whew. Well, as you saw, we were on the struggle bus there for a little bit, trying to get the machine started and then putting it into the garage for the first time using those dollies that I just bought. The dolly thing actually went better than I thought it would. It worked pretty well. It was a little bit of a struggle, but we got it done. First thing I want to do is pull this battery cover off and check on what's going on with my little jumper adapter that I made. I'm not sure if there's something bad with the connections or what's going on, but it obviously was not effective connecting the jumper through this into the battery. It could be that the gauge of the wire is too small, I don't know, or maybe there's just something faulty with the connections on the end, but we'll take a look in here and see what we see. Nice thing, these sleds come with their own little tool for taking apart some of the body panels and things like that. It's got some little Torx driver, and that seems to work pretty well. Makes it easy enough to take this off. Let's see. Oh, I wonder if the fuse blew in this little connector. Let's see. Maybe that's something to look at. Because there is a fuse to protect this wire, and maybe the starting amperage that thing is able to supply, maybe that's just too much for that fuse. Everything is just cold and frozen, so it's requiring a little extra persuasion. Oh goodness, that's oh, that's laughable. That's only a 7.5 amp fuse, so yeah, of course that blew. That was never going to work. Anyway, that blew out, so that never had a chance to even work. That makes plenty of sense. So, all right, mystery solved on that. We'll have to see if this wire is thick enough. Like what would happen if I just put a bigger fuse in it and try to start it that way? Because that's you can melt the wire if it's too thin and can't withstand the current. But that current that it'll need for starting, it's for such a brief period of time, it might be okay. All right, well, anyway, that's one mystery solved, why that wouldn't work through this cord, but did work when I was able to reach the terminals through the little holes in the seat cover, the battery cover under the seat. Well, what you just saw me do there on the time lapse is remove the upper body module from the front of the sled here. That is the first step in getting to install the recoil starter. So the recoil starter works by replacing this magneto cover with a recoil start at the set of parts you can buy, which I just picked up from the dealer this week. And hopefully the instructions are accurate, because I'm looking at this and I'm seeing maybe some variances, like not the number of screws holding this on that I'm expecting. So I'm going to have to bring out those parts and take a look and see if it looks like they're going to line up. Otherwise, I may have just taken this all apart for nothing. Well, there's the magneto cover, and there's the recoil cover. So it's got its little pull cord, just like you'd have on a lawnmower or any other piece of two-stroke equipment. And I see 1, 2, 3, 4 mounting holes. And when I look on here, I do see there's an access point here. So 1, 2, 3, and is there a fourth one down here that I can get to? Yep, there's a fourth one down here. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like I should be able to unscrew this cover, pull that out, and replace it with the recoil cover. To pull out these 4 T30 screws that hold the magneto cover on, I came up with this little arrangement. That's a T30 driver on a impact driver extension with a 1/4 inch open-end box end wrench to give it enough torque, because I can't fit my little impact driver in here, and I don't really have another good way to access these. I think this is going to work just fine. Yep, no problem. That was a little bit of a struggle getting that cover free through this constrained space, but it came off. And now I see how the little pawl in here engages with the sprocket on the magneto. The next step before installation is to pull out about 600 millimeters, or 24 inches or so for countries that went to the moon, and secure that with a little clamp so that the cord cannot be retracted back into the recoil. Now there's still a knot supplied by the factory out here. So now we have this secured, and there's a factory knot out here, which when you're ready to get this thing hooked up to the pull handle, you untie this knot to kind of let it roll the rest of the way back in, but not before, because otherwise they say the whole line will get retracted inside the recoil mechanism, which will make your day not very good. So I've initially temporarily run this cord through from below, and now I have to struggle with this to get it fit back in here. There's just only a very specific way that it'll align, and there's really no way for me to show that on video. It's just one of these things where, because of the nature of it, the shape, the little protrusions, the shape of the hole that it goes through, you just have to manipulate it gently into place, and it's just something you have to do by feel. Perhaps there's a written description of it in some Skidoo service manual somewhere that I don't have access to, but I'm just going to have to manipulate it into place. It's, just one of those things with small engines and small machines that you have to get a feel for. That was much less arduous than I expected. You know, what I did was I slid the top edge of it in first and kind of rotated it and then pushed it back, the bottom of it back down and in. Again, it's just something you have to do by feel, and it'll take a little bit of manipulation to do it. Be gentle, be patient, and just, move it around in a few different orientations, side to side, up and down, left and right, and rotate it until it just sort of pops in. That's the best way I can describe it. The other thing you'll want is some kind of long forceps or something, because the holes that these Torx fasteners go into are pretty far back behind here, and you are very likely to drop one of these or two of these in the process of getting them started. Fortunately, there's a little floor down there that they fall onto, so you can reach in and grab them. Just have a tool like this handy to be able to reach in and pull them out when you inevitably drop one. The other advice I'll give is, and I've given this advice before, when you're starting these screws, know that they are going into a plastic housing. I think it's pretty hard. Maybe ABS, or this sounds like it might be fiber reinforced plastic, but those threads are fairly delicate, even though they are pretty hard plastic. Turn the screw, once you have it in the hole, turn the screw counterclockwise as if you were loosening it until you feel the threads drop into the start of the threads in the housing. That way you know that when you start turning it in and you're screwing it in, it is going into the existing threads, not creating new threads and not cross-threading. It's a piece of advice I got from my father many, many years ago when he was teaching me about taking stuff apart and putting it back together. Again, turn the screw like you're loosening it until the threads drop into the start of the threads that are cut into the plastic housing. Then you can start turning it. You'll feel like these are pretty tight. Like these threads are pretty firm. They don't turn super easily. Like I'm needing to use a little bit of torque on this wrench to turn it. Not a lot, but a little bit, and it made me a little uncomfortable. So I actually backed this out and started it again just to be sure. And it is definitely going into the existing threads, but it's something you have to be careful about. There's a rope guide that you have to install, and that goes on the side of the chain case here. It'll mount in this spot, in this orientation, at least according to the diagram that I've got from BRP, using a pair of these little 10mm hex head screws. So that'll just mount right on there, and that's what will hold, give the rope some support and something smooth to run against as you pull it out. One more note on these screws that are used to hold the rope guide in place. These are forming screws, or what we might call self-tapping. They have a tapered end, and they will create their own threads as they go into the chain case here. So you really got to take your time with these, and I would probably start threading these in by hand with a wrench before trying to get the rope guide in here, just so that you can make sure that these are going in nice and straight as you screw them in to this part of the chain case. You don't want to screw this up, haha, pun intended. When you're mounting the rope guide and tightening these little tiny 10mm hex heads, be mindful of the torque spec. It's listed in the instructions, which you can download from BRP. It doesn't require a lot of torque. This is not something that is structural here. It's just guiding the rope, and you don't want to strip these threads out. You'll have a really bad time if you have to try to fill and tap this thing. You'd really probably have to take off the whole chain case. So just be really careful with the final torque. And then install this little panel nut. It's just a black metal clip that slides on, and this is what will secure the holder for the pull handle. Next, you'll secure this panel, which is what holds the pull handle, it uses this one T25 Torx screw that comes with the kit, and that just screws into that panel nut that we installed earlier. I would definitely hand tighten this. I'm going to use just a long extension. It's a little awkward to get at. This is a pretty light torque spec. It's about 2.25 to 2.5 Newton meters. So be careful tightening that too. Now that we've got this buttoned up here, this is all tightened down. Don't forget to reconnect this connector. I don't know what it's for. Looks like maybe a speedometer cable, I'm guessing, because it goes into the chain case. So be sure to connect that back in, make sure it clicks into place, otherwise you don't know that it's actually, there we go. Click. And finally, we'll be setting up the pull handle on the end of this rope. This is fixed in place now, and you just have to put this on, tie a knot in it, and tighten her up. And that is the finished install. We have the pull handle here now. It is mounted to the chain case. The rope is secured on there with a good old figure-8 stopper knot. I might make something else up there just to make really sure that doesn't come undone. But got a good pull on there. I can feel it engaging. I can feel the engine turning. So we've got this thing installed, and we are good to go with the recoil start mechanism. Well, as you can see, we got that pull start working, and that's all the time I have for this one today. But we've got the sled put all back together. It's all buttoned up, and I could go ahead and ride it again tomorrow if we want. I've got a few more projects to do with it, but we'll save those for another time. At any rate, thanks so much for watching. I hope that this instructional content is of value to somebody. I know I didn't find any videos showing how to install this recoil starter when I looked around, so I thought it'd be a good piece of value to provide to do this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe if you want to see more. I've got a whole bunch more projects to do with this machine. And, well, we'll see you in the next video.